Make the most of your organic gardening experience with the world's first self-growing planter. All you do is add soil, seeds, or plants, and walk away for the rest of the year. Our planters will germinate your seeds and grow your plants. Torpedo Pot's microbial organic growing process is designed to give plants incredible texture, refreshing scent, beautiful colors, and delightful flavors. Torpedo Pot is fully automated and uses over 95% less water to grow a lot more nutritious food. Check out our website, www.torpedopot.com, and order yours today.
So the Supreme Court had ended the eviction moratorium, which most people knew they were going to do that. Now, landlords have been really screwed and stuck out during this pandemic with no relief or help from the federal government at all. Imagine that you own a property, and they got brothers and sisters that are landlords. So that's why we're going to address this story. And imagine for a year that your tenants that sign an agreement that say they will pay the first of the month and they don't pay you anything. These same tenants then got about a couple of stimulus checks and still haven't gave you anything for rent to even show good faith, because they're not talking about that portion of it as well. They're trying to just demonize the landlords and say, oh, they just wrong, and how could you throw somebody out like that? Like, okay, well, if you're not going to pay your rent with your contract you signed, you can't just squat in somebody's house. That isn't right. I wouldn't even feel right staying somewhere and I don't pay anything. I don't care if it's a family member house I'm staying in with them. I'm going to pay you something, because I don't believe in just living something for free. I just don't believe in that. Even in my worst days, I didn't believe in that. But they have this landlord in upstate New York has been forced to live out of her car after tenants in her 3 properties refused to pay rent for almost a year. And while she's unable to evict them due to the state and federal moratoriums, this is at the time period it just ended, okay? So now she can go and evict them. Now, this woman's name is Brandy Lacasse, and she's owed more than $23,000 in uncollected rent from her 3 properties, and she's not received any rental assistance funds from the government after at least one of her tenants were approved for rental help. Now, this woman was a Air Force veteran, and she was left homeless without income to support herself and her daughter. Now, she invested into properties, say, hey, I'm going to rent them out to people, and that's how I'm going to make my income. Many people do that. But this is the first time in my lifetime I've ever seen the government tell someone with their private property that you can't remove somebody from your property. But yet the government haven't been giving out checks. So this woman is a single mother, and her daughter have been living out their car and staying with friends. The woman says she cried many nights, like thinking, where's my money? She added, I don't understand how they can give my private property to somebody to live for free. He said, I bought that property. I fixed it up with my blood, sweat, and tears. She says, I invested in these properties, never thinking I wouldn't have a place to live. I just want my house. That's it. I just want my house. Now, let me tell you something. People always run around here talking about, communism and all of that. Well, let's call it what it is. That eviction moratorium is a form of communism. The government literally hijacked the properties of landlords and told them what they can do with their property, like they talk about communism all the time. And then after the Supreme Court struck it down the last time, Biden and them said, oh, you know what? Well, we're going to extend it. It may not even be legal, but we're going to extend it anyway to buy some time. Because all the Supreme Court said, no, Congress got to go and make a law. Then we can stick by it. But Congress not going to do that because Congress know that's not right. Some of them got rental properties. They don't want to put that on the books. But it's brothers and sisters who own properties, okay? And I had one sister say, that she was dealing with the same issues and problems with rental properties. A lot of brothers and sisters want to sell their properties now. They said, listen, if the government at any time could just take my property and hold it hostage, and I can't get nothing at all for things that I work for, then what's the point of having that? Some people are feeling that way now, which is going to make it worse for people that need to rent. Now, is everyone did that during the pandemic? No. But my thing is, you could have had some good faith. You could say, you know what, even if you lost your job, look, I got the stimulus, let me give you this. Let me give you that. Trust me, it would not been an issue or a problem. Another thing that's coming up right now is that people are saying that, well, this from what they was talking about on Twitter recently, that they had this woman in Houston had got $7,000. This is what they were saying from the CDC, wanted to give it to the landlord. The landlord said, nah, I'm good. I don't want it. And people are saying, well, why aren't they taking the money? And they should be forced to take the money. Okay, they've been forced to not do nothing to you for about a year, and you didn't pay anything. Now you're telling them they need to take some government money and force them to let you stay there? Like, listen, the reason why they don't want to take your money is because, first and foremost, you broke the agreement by not paying at the first or third or whatever else that you said you was going to pay once a month. In that agreement, it didn't say nothing about whether you lose your job, you ain't got to pay rent. We all know people lose jobs. That happen. And right now, there's a lot of jobs to go get. Everywhere I go, I see a now hiring sign somewhere. So don't say they don't have no jobs for somebody to go get if you want a job. Listen, there were jobs at times in my life that I done and did not want to do. But you know what? Phillip needed a job. I couldn't sit around being a bum and not making no money. That's why I don't even know about unemployment, because I didn't sit down long enough to get any unemployment in my life. So I don't see how you sit up there and just be cool on unemployment. I don't understand the logic in that. But I was raised different. I was raised that you're not a man if you ain't got a job. That's the way I was raised. I was raised that men take care of their household. And this was what black men that I was raised around instilled in me. Because, when they put around this crap, about black men. No, black men has instilled a lot in me. Family, different brothers that's friends and mentors, helped shape some of my thought processes over the years. And that's why it's important to have brothers out there that can help, shape people, the younger people, take up some time with them, give them the game. And then younger people, when they're giving you the game, listen. Don't be like Sha'Carri when somebody's trying to stick up for you that's a little bit more successful than you, where you need to be, and you saying something stupid. Please don't do that. But it's going to come to a head. It's going to come to a head. And unfortunately, those who chose to not pay anything, even though you got some stimulus checks, because this situation with this lady is messed off. So they said that her situation, this lady here, represents the current state of many landlords across the country, as the U.S. Treasury Department has noted that almost 90% of rental assistance funds have not been distributed. It said New York doled out 8% of the $2.6 billion federally allotted for rental assistance to landlords. So they only gave about 8%. What are they doing with the money? It's just happening all over the country. Why aren't you giving out the money that the federal government set aside? Because you know what? Y'all trying to finesse. Y'all trying to figure out a way to run out the clock so nobody pay attention to that money anymore, and then so y'all can be corrupt and have, what I'm saying? Listen, they talk about African politicians. Oh, they corrupt. Man, American politicians is way more corrupt, because at least the African politicians are up front for the most part with their corruption. These over here, this is corruption. They told you to get that money out. That is complete corruption. If y'all don't call it corruption, that's the reason why these politicians get away with what they get away with. Because y'all refuse to call American politicians corrupt. At least Africans do that. So they said U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen sent a landlord to state and local government leaders addressing the eviction moratorium. Now, I say Attorney General Merrick Garland and Housing Secretary Marcia Fudge also signed on to the letter. And so we are writing to request your urgent help preventing unnecessary evictions during the pandemic. Yellen wrote, our bottom line is this: no one should be evicted before they have a chance to apply for rental assistance, and no eviction should move forward until the application has been processed. Now, Janet Yellen, no. You're sitting up here with your government job, you getting your check. Imagine you don't get your check for a year. And then now you're trying to tell them that, well, they can't evict unless they get a rental assistance. No, you need to hurry up and give them their money. But even if they do get the money, right, they still may want the person out. And that is their right. They also had a finding as well with a study that talked about landlords were more likely to punish tenants that are not Mzungu with late rental fees, evictions, and a lack of rental forgiveness. And I always tell black people, as black folks, whether you agree with it or not, and I was told this long time ago, you can't compare yourself to the Mzungu or anybody else. Black people, like my grandfather said, must walk the chalk line. You must walk straight and narrow and be good as possible and be on your morality as much as possible, because you can't get away with what other folks get away with. I know that. So since I know that, I'm like, nah, we're going to go ahead and pay this rent. Forget that. We're going to pay it, because you know what? It's going to come to a head, because what if the person say, okay, well, the eviction moratorium is over. I need my rent tomorrow by 5 o'clock. I need my rent. And if I don't get my rent, then you better believe I will be at the courthouse the next day. It's a messed up situation. It is. But the only thing that I will say about that is y'all need to look at the other side too. Many brothers and sisters in our community are not only renters, but they're also landlords. And and no matter what it is, the federal government should never have the power to tell you to force someone to stay on your property that you paid for. That in itself should cause lawsuits. I'll just be honest with you. I'm talking about lawsuits all over the country, because that is completely wrong. Okay, the pandemic, it is what it is on the pandemic. It's not the landlord's fault the pandemic showed up, so why should they have to suffer? But, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular story. I'm just saying that people not hearing it from the other side. They just keep trying to say, oh, these people don't need to be thrown out. But they're not thinking about the people with their private property. Because all the people that's saying who don't need to be thrown out or who don't need to be evicted, okay, well, let them come stay at your house. That's all. Open your doors and prepare, a room and let them stay there. And then that would be the problem solved, don't you think?
Join me on the 4th Annual Homecoming and Pilgrimage to Sierra Leone on December 28, 2021 through January 9, 2022. We will be exploring this beautiful country, and eligible individuals will be receiving Sierra Leonean citizenship and passports. For more details, check out our website, sierraleonepilgrimage.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Go Ham Lifestyle Vlogs, because we all need an Africa escape plan.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.